Ciao a tutti, benvenuti o bentornati sul mio canale. Today's lesson is about some of the most common animal expressions used in the Italian language. In many languages, animal-related expressions are used to add nuance to daily conversations. They help us describe somebody's appearance, personality or behavior in a more interesting way by comparing humans and animals either directly or implicitly. Animal expressions is therefore a generic term which includes different figures of speech, idioms, metaphors and similes. Idioms are phrases which cannot be understood by looking at the meaning of their individual words. They are used in a non-literal way. Take, for example, these two similar idioms: the English "to be the goose that lays the golden egg" and the Italian "essere la gallina dalle uova d'oro." These expressions cannot be taken literally. We all know that there are no birds that can lay golden eggs, of course. We use these expressions in a figurative way, to refer to something that is profitable, that generates loads of money. Metaphors are words or phrases used to draw comparisons between two things which are seemingly unrelated but actually share similarities. For example, the English word pigsty and its Italian equivalent porcile, which normally refer to pigs' dwelling, can be used metaphorically to describe a dirty and messy place. Similes are phrases used to make direct comparisons between two things. They highlight obvious similarities. For example, to describe somebody who moves without making any noise or is very quiet, we can say as quiet as a mouse in English and silenzioso come un gatto in Italian. Listening and reading comprehension. I will now read a text, a diary entry, which contains 21 animal-related expressions. You can read along if you want to practice your pronunciation and speaking skills too. Repeating what you hear is one of the best ways to improve your conversational skills. After listening, stop the video for as long as you need to and identify as many Italian animal expressions as you can, also trying to guess what they mean. But don't worry if you cannot understand all the sentences at this stage. After resuming the video, you can then go through the text broken down into sections and check both the animal expressions used and the English translation. In the last part of the video, we will look at these expressions in more detail. Venerdì 17 gennaio 2025. Che disastro stasera! Una serata da dimenticare! Dovevamo ritrovarci tutti in pizzeria a festeggiare il mio compleanno. Invece eravamo 4 gatti. Marina ha una febbre da cavallo da una settimana e ovviamente in questi giorni non mette il naso fuori di casa. Giulia non c'era perché è sempre stanca. Va bene che ha l'abitudine di andare a letto con le galline, però ogni tanto lo sforzo di uscire con gli amici lo potrebbe anche fare. Ma come fa a dormire come un ghiro per 10 ore di fila ogni notte? Boh, è proprio strana. Paolo è il solito orso. Quando l'ho chiamato per invitarlo in pizzeria, ha detto subito di no. Io ho insistito, ma lui si è chiuso come un riccio e non c'è stato verso di convincerlo. Mamma mia, quanto è timido! Quando esce con noi si sente un pesce fuor d'acqua. Luisa, sempre lenta come una lumaca, ci ha messo così tanto tempo a prepararsi che ha perso l'autobus. Poi, dato che è anche cieca come una talpa, è salita sull'autobus sbagliato ed è finita dalla parte opposta della città. Gli occhiali ce li avrebbe pure, ma non li vuole mettere perché dice che le coprono i suoi occhi da cerbiatta. Così alla fine non è venuta in pizzeria nemmeno lei. Ma il fatto che Antonio non sia venuto a festeggiare il mio compleanno senza avvisarmi è veramente strano. Qui gatta ci cova. Sono sicura che è tutta colpa di Veronica, la sua nuova ragazza. Quella vipera riesce sempre a fargli fare quello che vuole lei. Fa la gatta morta e lui, con quel suo sguardo da pesce lesso e docile come un agnellino, la asseconda in tutto. Veronica è furba come una volpe, ma lui, testardo come un mulo, nega l'evidenza e continua a fare lo struzzo. Ma adesso basta. È arrivato il momento di prendere il toro per le corna. Domani lo chiamo e gli chiedo se ci tiene ancora alla nostra amicizia. Sono stanca di ingoiare rospi. Deve scegliere: lasciare Veronica o perdere gli amici. Non può salvare capra e cavoli. Now take your time rereading the text broken down into segments. Check the animal-related expressions you have identified against the ones which I have highlighted, and use the English translation if you need help understanding the text. After that, we will focus on the meaning of those expressions. I am sure you have managed to identify all the 21 animal-related expressions in the text. Bravissimi! Now let's look at them one more time in detail. Essere quattro gatti. The literal translation is to be four cats, but this is an idiom, and it is used when we want to say that there are very few people, a handful of people. Avere una febbre da cavallo. The literal translation is to have a horse temperature, but this too is an idiom, and it is used when we want to say that someone has a very high temperature. Andare a letto con le galline. This is an idiom, and it is used when we want to describe someone who goes to bed very early. It is equivalent to the English idiom to go to bed with the chickens. Dormire come un ghiro. The literal translation is to sleep like a dormouse. This is a simile, and it means to sleep very soundly, or, to use another simile, to sleep like a log. Essere un orso, literally to be a bear, but this is a metaphor and it is used when we want to describe someone who is unsociable, grumpy or introverted. Chiudersi come un riccio. The literal translation is to curl up like a hedgehog. This too is a metaphor. It is used to describe somebody who refuses to talk or stops talking. In English, the idiom to clam up is also used. Sentirsi un pesce fuor d'acqua. This is a metaphor and it means to feel uncomfortable or out of place in a specific situation. In English, we find the same expression, to feel like a fish out of the water. Essere lento come una lumaca. This is a simile. It directly compares the attitude of somebody who does everything slowly to the slow pace of a snail. Essere cieco come una talpa. The literal translation is to be as blind as a mole. This is a simile, and it is used to describe somebody who cannot see very well. It has the same meaning as the English expression to be as blind as a bat. Occhi da cerbiatta. This metaphor indirectly connects the large and innocent-looking eyes of a doe to those of a woman, to highlight her attractiveness and beauty. In English, we find a similar expression, doe-eyed. Qui gatta ci cova. This idiom literally translates as the cat is hatching eggs, but it is used to say that there is something fishy, suspicious going on. It is also equivalent to the English to smell a rat. Essere una vipera. Here we have another metaphor comparing the viper, a notoriously poisonous snake, with someone who is evil and nasty. In Italian, this expression is mainly used to refer to a woman. In English, we find a similar expression, to be a snake. Fare la gatta morta. The literal translation is to play the dead cat. This is an idiom used to describe a woman who plays dumb. Sguardo da pesce lesso. This literally translates as a boiled fish look. It is also a metaphor and is used to describe the look of somebody who is love-struck. Docile come un agnellino. This is a simile and has the same meaning as the English as meek as a lamb, which is used to describe someone who is kind, gentle and good-natured. Essere furbo come una volpe. Here we have another simile used to compare the cunning nature of a fox to the shrewd and deceitful nature of some people. Essere testardo come un mulo. This simile draws another obvious comparison between the stubbornness of a mule and that of some people. Fare lo struzzo. Literally, to play the ostrich, this metaphor is used to describe somebody who refuses to face reality, to see what's in plain sight. It is equivalent to the English to bury one's head in the sand. Prendere il toro per le corna. This idiom means to deal with a difficult situation in a very direct, decisive way. It's the same as the English idiom to take the bull by the horns. Ingoiare rospi. This literally translates as to swallow toads, but in fact this idiom means to suck it up, to put up with an unpleasant situation without complaining. Salvare capra e cavoli. The literal translation here is to save both the goat and the cabbages. This idiom, which means to try to support both sides in an argument for one's own sake, is equivalent to the English expression to run with the hare and hunt with the hounds. That's all for this lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please don't forget to put a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Arrivederci alla prossima lezione.